Hi, welcome to this Corbettmaths video going through the video solutions to the income tax practice questions. In this video, I'm just going to go through the answers to the practice questions. So if you do want any extra help on income tax, feel free to watch the video tutorial on Corbettmaths on that. And if you go to corbettmaths.com/contents and scroll right the way down to the bottom to video 400J, that will be the video tutorial on income tax or tax. So let's get started going through these answers. So question one. Question 1 says, if Nora earns more than £12,570 in a year, she will pay income tax. Each month she earns £1,060. Will Nora pay income tax? So what we need to do is we need to work out how much money Nora earns every year. Now she earns £1,060 each month, so we're going to take the £1,060 and multiply that by 12. Because it's 12 months in a year, and we're going to see how much money Nora earns in 1 year. So if we do £1,060 and multiply that by 12, we get that's equal to £12,720. Now the question says, will Nora pay income tax? Now if she earns more than £12,570, she will pay income tax. So as she earns more than that, she will pay income tax. So the answer is yes, she will. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at question number 2. Okay, let's have a look at question number 2. So question 2 says, Catherine will pay income tax if she earns more than €10,347 each year. She earns €800 each month for the first 7 months of the year, and then Catherine earns €940 each month for the rest of the year. Does Catherine have to pay income tax? So first of all, let's have a look and see how much money Catherine earns in the year. So she has 7 months where she earns €800 each month. So if we take our €800 and we multiply that by 7, we'll see how much money Catherine earns in the first 7 months of the year. So 800 multiplied by 7 is equal to €5,600. So that's how much Catherine earns for the first 7 months of the year. Now she earns €940 each month for the rest of the year. Now there's 12 months, so 12 take away 7 leaves us 5 months. So for 5 months she's going to earn €940. So let's take our 940 and multiply that by 5 and see how much money Catherine earns over those 5 months. And that's equal to €4,700. So Catherine earns €5,600 for the first 7 months and €4,700 for the last 5 months. So if we add those two together, we'll see how much money Catherine earns over the whole year. So 5,600 plus 4,700 is equal to €10,300. Now Catherine will only pay income tax if she earns more than €10,347. So she's actually €47 short. So does Catherine have to pay income tax? No, she doesn't. Okay, let's have a look at question number 3. So question number 3 says, Gracie earns £13.95 an hour and works 22 hours each week. Each year she works 42 weeks. She will have to pay income tax if she earns more than £13,000. Does Gracie have to pay income tax? So first of all, let's have a look and see how much money Gracie earns each week. So she earns £13.95 an hour and she works for 22 hours. So if we take our £13.95 and we multiply that by 22, we'll see how much money Gracie earns in a week. So £13.95 and multiplied by 22 is equal to £306.90. Now Gracie works 42 weeks a year, so if we take how much money she earns in 1 week, that £306.90, and multiply by 42, we'll see how much money Gracie earns in a year. So £306.90 and multiply that by 42 weeks, and that gives us £12,889.80. Now Gracie has to pay income tax if she earns more than £13,000. Well, she doesn't earn that much, so does Gracie have to pay income tax? No. Okay, let's have a look at question 4. And question 4 says, in a country, people have to pay income tax on their salary as shown below. So they have to pay 20% on all earnings over £10,000. So what that means is the first £10,000 that they earn, they don't have to pay any income tax on. But anything beyond that, they have to pay 20% of it in tax. So Kelvin earns £18,000. How much money does Kelvin have to pay? Now this is a non-calculator question, so I've just put my calculator down. And first of all, Kelvin is allowed to earn his first £10,000 without paying any tax. So let's take his 18,000 and take away the 10,000 he's allowed to earn with no income tax and see how much is left. And 18,000 take away 10,000 will leave Kelvin with £8,000. So there's £8,000 that is taxable, that he has to pay tax on, and he has to pay 20% on all of those earnings over £10,000. So he needs to pay 20% of £8,000. So 10% of £8,000. Now to get 10%, we divide by 10, so that would be £800. And 20% would be double that. So double £800 would be £1,600. So how much income tax does Kelvin have to pay? £1,600, and that's it. So what we done was we started off by taking 10,000 away from what Kelvin earned, which was the 18,000. That left him with £8,000 that was over the 10,000, and he has to pay 20% of that, and 20% of 8,000 is 1,600, and that's it. So how much income tax does Kelvin have to pay? 1,600. Okay, let's have a look at question number 5. Okay, question number 5 says, in a country, people have to pay income tax on their salary as shown below, and they have to pay 15% on all earnings over $9,000. And Omar earns $35,000. How much income tax does Omar have to pay? So first of all, he's allowed to earn $9,000 without having to pay any income tax, and then he has to pay 15% on the rest. So if we take the $9,000 away from the $35,000, we'll see how much money he has to pay income tax on. So if we take our $35,000 and take away 9,000, and this is non-calculator, so that will leave us with $26,000. So he earns $26,000 above the 9,000, and he has to pay 15% of that. So let's work out 15% of $26,000. So 10%, well, to find 10% of $26,000, we'll divide it by 10. Would give us $2,600. So 10% of $26,000 is $2,600. Now we want 15%, so if we found 5%, we could then add the 10% and the 5% together. Now if we know 10%, to get 5%, we'll half it. So half of 2,600 is equal to 1,300. So 10% is 2,600. 5% is 1,300, and if we add those together, we'll find 15% of 26,000. So adding those together will give us 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, 6 plus 3 is 9, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So he needs to pay $3,900. And just to check that, he started off with $35,000. He needs to pay 15% on all his earnings over $9,000. So we took $9,000 away from the $35,000 to leave us with $26,000. So that's how much is taxable, how much he needs to pay tax on, and he pays 15% of it, and we worked out 15%. So how much income tax does Omar have to pay? $3,900. Okay, let's have a look at question number 6. Okay, question number 6 says, in a country, people have to pay income tax on their salary as shown, and they've got to pay 19% on all earnings over $18,200. And Ashley earns $39,000. And it says, work out how much tax Ashley has to pay. So this is a calculator question, so that's quite nice. So she's allowed to earn up to $18,200 without paying any tax, and any earnings over that she has to pay 19% off. So if we take our $18,200 away from the $39,000, we can then see how much money Ashley is going to be taxed on, and then we need to work at 19% of it. So let's start off with our $39,000 and take away $18,200 to see how much money is taxable. And whenever I take those away, I get $20,800. So that means that $20,800 of Ashley's earnings are taxable, and she needs to pay 19% of it. So we need to work at 19% of $20,800. And to do that, I'm going to find 1% by dividing by 100, and then multiplying by the percentage I want, which is 19%. So let's take our 20,800 and divide it by 100 to find 1%. So that would be equal to, if we divide this by 100, we would get 208. And then if we take our 208 and multiply it by the percent we want, which is 19, that would tell us 19% of 20,800. And when we do that, we get, that's equal to $3,952. So how much income tax does Ashley have to pay? $3,952. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at question number 7. So question number 7 says the amount of income tax paid in a country depends on the amount of money that person earns. So they pay 20% on all earnings up to €36,800, and then they pay 40% on the rest of their income. And Oshin earns €40,000, and the question says how much income tax will he have to pay? So first of all his earnings up to $36,800, he has to pay 20% of that in tax. So because he earns 40,000, which is more than that, we know he has to pay 20% of his first 36,800. So let's work that out to begin with. So let's find 20% of 36,800 euros. So first of all, I'm going to start off by taking my 36,800. I'm going to divide it by 100 to find 1%. That's equal to 368 euros. And then I'm going to take my 368 euros, which is 1%, and I'm going to times it by 20 to find 20%. And that's equal to 7,360 euros. So what we've done is, well, Oshin earned 40,000 euros. We've started off with his first 36,800, and he has to pay 20% of that in tax. So we've worked out 20% of that, and that's equal to 7,360 euros. So that's going to be part of the tax that he pays. And then he has to pay 40% on the rest of his income. Now, because Oisin earned over 36,800, we're going to have to take 36,800 away from 40,000 to see how much is the rest, and then we'll work out 40% of it and then add that on. So we'll take 40,000 and we'll take away our 36,800 to see how much is the rest of his earnings above that first amount. And that's equal to 3,200 euros. So 3,200 euros is the rest of his income. And he has to pay 40% of that. So let's take his 3,200. Now we want to find 40% of that. So we're going to take our 3,200. We're going to divide it by 100 to get 1%, which is equal to 32. And then we're going to take our 32 and multiply it by 40 to find 40%. And when we do that, we get that's equal to 1,280 euros. So on his first 36,800 euros, Oisin has to pay 7,360. And on the rest of his earnings above that, up to 40,000, he has to pay 40%, which is 1,280 euros. And then if we add that and that together, we will find how much tax he has to pay in total. So let's take his 7,360 and add 1,280, and that'll tell us how many euros Oisin will have to pay in income tax. And that's equal to 8,640 euros. So Oisin will have to pay 8,640 euros in income tax. Okay, let's have a look at question number 8. So question number 8 says the amount of income tax paid in a region depends on the amount of money that a person earns. 26% of all earnings up to £18,000 has to be paid in tax, and then 31% on the rest of their income. So the first 18,000 they pay 26%, and then on the rest of it they pay 31%, so slightly higher percentage on the rest. Toby earns £85,400. How much income tax will he have to pay? So obviously he earns more than the 18,000. So that first 18,000 he has to pay 26% of that. So we need to work out 26% of 18,000. So let's take our 18,000 and divide it by 100 to get 1%. So when we divide that by 100 we get 180. And then we want to find 26%, so we're going to take our 1%, which is 180, and times that by 26, and that'll tell us how much tax he has to pay on his first £18,000. And that's equal to £4,680. So he has to pay £4,680 in tax on his first £18,000 of earnings, and then he has to pay 31% on the rest of his income. So let's find out what the rest of his income is. So let's take his 85,400 and take away the first 18,000, and let's see what that rest of his income is. So when we take those away, we find that the rest of his income is £67,400, and he's going to pay 31% of that in income tax. So we need to work out 31% of this. So let's divide it by 100 to get 1%. So let's take our 67,400 and divide it by 100 to get 1%. That's equal to 670 euros. And we want 31%, so we now need to times the 1% by 31. So 674 euros multiplied by 31 equals £20,894. So that's great. So he has to pay £4,680 on his first £18,000 of earnings, and then on the rest of his earnings he has to pay £20,894. And if we add those two together, we find the total amount of income tax Toby has to pay. So £20,894 plus £4,680 equals £25,574. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at question number 9. So question number 9 says, in a particular region, the amount of income tax depends on how much money is earned that year. So they pay 0% on the first 14,500. They pay 10% on the next £6,500 earned, and then 20% on the remaining income. And LT's salary is £52,000. Work out how much tax he has to pay. So first of all, for the first £14,500, Elsie has to pay 0% tax, so she doesn't pay any tax for the first £14,500 earned. Now, for the next 6,500, so if we add those two together, 14,500 plus 6,500, that's equal to £21,000. The reason I'm doing that, I'm just having a look at to see, does Elsie earn more than that? Yes, she does. So that means that for the next £6,500, Elsie has to pay 10% of that. So let's find 10% of 6,500. And that's equal to £650. So she pays no tax on the first 14,500. Because she earns the next 6,500, she has to pay 10% of that, which is £650 of tax. And then on the rest of her salary, she has to pay 20%. Well, let's find the rest of her salary. So for the first 14,500 and 6,500, so we've done the first £21,000 of her income. We've added those up and seen that we've done the first £21,000 of her income. So the rest of her income will be 52,000 take away 21,000, and that's equal to £31,000. So the rest of her income is £31,000, and she needs to pay 20% of that. So 10% would be equal to 3,100 by dividing that by 10. Doubling it to get 20% would then be, doubling 3,100 would be 6,200. So that means that the rest of her income, she has to pay 20% of that, and that would be 6,200. So she pays 0% on the first 14,500, which is no tax, £0. On the next 6,500, she pays 10%, and because she earns all of it, then she has to pay 10% of all of that 6,500, so that would be £650. And then the rest of her income, well, that's 21,000, so the rest of it's 31,000. She has to pay 20% of that, and 20% of 31,000 is equal to 6,200. So she needs to pay in total for her tax. Well, if we add the 650 and the 6,200, that'll tell us how much tax she needs to pay in total. So 6,200 plus £650 is equal to £6,850, and that's how much income tax Elsie needs to pay. Okay, let's have a look at question number 10. Okay, let's have a look at question number 10. So question 10 says, in a particular country, the amount of income tax depends on how much is earned that year. And we've got a table that shows the rates of tax. So we've got a personal allowance up to £13,000, between £13,000 and a penny up to £50,000, the rate of tax is 20%. And the earnings between £50,000 a penny up to £150,000, the tax rate is 40%. And perhaps over £150,000, there's maybe another rate of tax. And then the question says that George has a salary of £45,000 and Kevin has a salary of £61,000. And we're asked to find out how much more tax does Kevin pay than George. So let's first of all find out how much tax each person needs to pay. So let's start off with George. So let's start off with George. So George earns £45,000. His first £13,000 he pays no tax. And with earnings up to £50,000, so he doesn't go past £50,000, he has to pay 20% on the rest beyond £13,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to take £13,000 away from £45,000, and then he pays 20% of that in tax. So £45,000, take away £13,000, leaves £32,000. And then he has to pay 20% of that in tax. So we're going to work out 20% of 32,000. Now we can do this in two different ways. We could divide it by 100, like in previous examples I've been dividing by 100 and then multiplying by 20 to find 20%. Now what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use a multiplier. Because it's 20%, 20% is the same as 0.2. So I'm just going to take my 32,000 and I'm going to multiply it by 0.2. And that will tell us what 20% of £32,000 is. And whenever we do 32,000 multiplied by 0.2, that gives us £6,400. So that means that on George's salary of £45,000, he has to pay £6,400 in tax. So that means that George pays £6,400. Now let's look at Kevin. Kevin earns £61,000. So let's find out how much tax he has to pay. Now, whenever we look at the 61,000, some of it he pays no tax, the first 13,000. His earnings between £13,000 and a penny and up to £50,000, he pays 20%. And then because he earns 61, which is past that, the last £11,000 of his earnings, he has to pay 40%. So let's work out how much money Kevin needs to pay in tax. So with Kevin, his first £13,000, he pays no tax. Now, in terms of his basic rate, well, anything between £13,000 and a penny, his earnings beyond £13,000 up to £50,000, he has to pay 20%. So let's take his £50,000 and take away £13,000 and see how much of his income has to then be taxed at 20%. So £50,000 take away £13,000 is £37,000. So £37,000 he has to pay 20%. So let's take our £37,000 and multiply that by 0.2 to work out 20%. And when we do that, we get that's equal to £7,400. So for his first £13,000, Kevin needs to pay no tax. For his earnings between £13,000 and up to £50,000, he has to pay £7,400 in tax. And then for the rest of his earnings, well, that's the earnings beyond £50,000 up to £61,000, he needs to pay 40%. So let's take the £61,000, take away the £50,000 and see that that's equal to £11,000. And he's going to pay 40% in tax. So let's take that £11,000 and to work out 40% of it, we can just multiply it by 0.4 because 40% is 0.4. And when we take £11,000 and times by 0.4, we get 4,400. So that means that for Kevin, he pays 7,500 in his basic rate and 4,400 in his high rate. So if we add those together, that'll tell us how much money Kevin needs to pay in tax in total. And when we add 7,400 and 4,400, that's equal to 11,800. So we now know how much money Kevin needs to pay in tax. He needs to pay £11,800 and George needs to pay £6,400. And the question is how much more income tax does Kevin need to pay than George? So we'll just do 11,800, take away 6,400, and that's equal to 5,400. And that means that he pays 5,400 more in tax than George. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at question number 11. So question number 11 says, in a region, people have to pay income tax on their salary as shown below. And it says it's 30% on all earnings over £8,000. So for the first £8,000, no tax is paid, and then 30% on anything over £8,000. And last year, Jacob paid £1,800 in income tax. Work out how much money Jacob earned last year. So what we need to do is, we know how much income tax he paid. We need to go backwards and find out how much money he earned to pay that tax. Now for the first £8,000, he paid no tax at all. And then on the extra, whatever is over £8,000, he paid 30%, and that 30% is £1,800. Well, let's call the extra, the amount of money over the £8,000, let's call that Y. And we know that 30% off that extra, 30% off that extra pay is equal to 1,800. Now, if we know that 30% off that amount of money is 1,800, we can find out what that number Y is. So let's find out what the extra is. So let's go from the 30% to 100%. So we know that 30% of the extra is 1,800. So let's get what 100% of the extra is. Let's find out what Y is. So we know that 30% is 1,800. Let's find 10%. So if we wanted to find 10%, we would divide 30% by 3. And if we divide 30% by 3, we would divide 1,800 by 3. And if we divide 1,800 by 3, we would get that's equal to £600. So 10% of the extra is £600. Now if we multiply this by 10, we'll find 100%. So times by 10 and times by 10. Now if we times by 10, well 10% times by 10 is 100%. That's why we're doing it, to get 100% off Y, or what Y is. And 600 times by 10 is 6,000. So that means that the extra is 6,000. So that's the extra, and that was the money over £8,000. So if we do £8,000 plus £6,000, that'll be how much money Jacob earned in total. So 8,000 plus 6,000 is equal to £14,000. So Jacob earned £14,000 last year. And we can check it. Well, on the first 8,000, he pays no tax. That then leaves 6,000, and he needs to pay 30% of that. 10% of 6,000 is 600, so 30% would be 1,800, and that's what we were given in the question. So that's correct. So that's how much money Jacob earned last year. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, let's have a look at question number 12. So question number 12 says, William will pay income tax on his salary. He'll pay 20% on the first €36,800 of his salary, and then William will pay 40% on the rest of his salary, and he will pay €9,200 in income tax. Work out William's salary. So this is similar to question 11, but this time rather than paying 0% on the beginning, he pays 20% on the first 36,800. So let's work out what 20% off 36,800 is to see how much income tax he pays on the first part of his salary. So 20% off €36,800. Let's work out what that would be. So to find 20% of a number, we do 0.2 multiplied by the number, because 20% is 0.2, so that's our multiplier. So we're going to do 0.2 multiplied by 36,800. And that would tell us how much income tax William pays on the first part of his salary. So 36,800 multiplied by 0.2 is equal to 7,360. So that's €7,360. But in total, William pays 9,200 in income tax. So if we take away the 7,360 away from the 9,200, we'll see how much more income tax William needs to pay on the rest of his salary. So 9,200 subtract 7,360 is equal to €1,840. So on the rest of his salary, William will pay €1,840, and whenever we look at the rest of his salary, he pays 40% tax on that. So if we let this rest of his salary be called Y, we know that 40% of Y equals €1,840. Now we want to find out what 100% of Y is. We want to know what the rest of his salary is. So let's go from 40% to 100%. So let's find 100% of Y. So we'll divide by 40 to get 1%. So 1% of Y, we would divide by 40 there. So we're going to divide 1,840 by 40 to see what 1% is. So 1% of his extra salary is equal to 46 euros. Now we don't want 1%, we want 100%, so we're now going to multiply by 100. So 100% of y, this extra, it would be, and if we multiply this by 100, we'd multiply this by 100 as well, and 46 euros times by 100 would be 4,600. So that means the extra amount of his salary is 4,600, and that's the extra beyond the 36,800. So if we do 36,800 plus 4,600, that would tell us how much his salary was in total. So 36,800 plus 4,600 equals 41,400 euros. So that is the total amount of William's salary, and we can check this. He pays 20% on the first 36,800 of his salary, so that's 7,360 he would pay in income tax there. We then need to work out 40% of the extra. Well, the extra would be, well, if we took the 36,800 away from his total salary, we'd be left with 4,600 euros. And then he needs to pay 40% of that in tax. So that would be 1,840. And if you added that on, then you would find that his total amount of tax he'd pay would be 9,200. And that's it. So that's question number 12. Let's have a look at our last question, question number 13. Okay, question number 13 says, Marta will pay income tax on her salary. She pays 0% on the first 14,500 of her salary. She pays 15% on the next 35,500 pound of her salary, and she pays 40% on the rest of her salary. Marta will pay 16,800 in income tax. Work out Marta's salary. Well, first of all, she pays 0% on the first 14,500 of her salary, so that would be no tax there at all. Now, then she pays 15% on the next 35,500. So if we do 35,500 and we multiply that by, now to get 15% of a number, you could get 10% and then half it to get 5% and then add them together. Alternatively, you could just change the percentage into a decimal. So 15% is 0.15, so that's our multiplier. And if we multiply 35,500 by 0.15, that will tell us 15%. So 35,500 multiplied by 0.15 equals, that's equal to 5,325 pound. So on the next 35,500 of her salary, she pays in total 5,325 pound. Now in total, she pays 16,800 in income tax. Well, let's find out how much more income tax she's got to pay on the rest of her salary. So if we take our 16,800 and we take away how much income tax she's paid in total so far, which is 5,325, that will tell us how much more income tax she then has to pay. So 16,800 take away 5,325 equals 11,475 pound. So that means that over the rest of her salary, she'll have to pay another 11,475 pound. Now that's 40% on the rest of her salary. Let's call the rest of her salary Y. So 40% of this extra amount of money will equal 11,475 pound. So let's write that down. 40% of Y equals 11,475 pound. Okay, so we know what 40% is. Now let's find 100%. So let's find out Y, the rest of her salary. So to get from 40% to 100%, well, this is a calculator question. So let's divide by 40. So let's get 1%. So 1% of Y equals. So dividing by 40 would give us 1%. So let's divide 11,475 by 40. And that's equal to 286.875. Now that's 1%. We want 100%. So let's multiply this by 100. So 100% of Y, so Y is the rest of her salary, would be equal to £28,687.50. So that would be the rest of her salary. So let's work out what our total salary would be. So she paid 0% on the first 14,500. So that's 14,500. She then paid 15% on the next 35,500, so that's another 35,500. And then she paid 40% on the rest of her salary, and the rest of her salary was this, so that's £28,687.50. And when we add those together, we will get her total salary. And that's equal to £78,687.50. And that's it. And that's it. So that's Marta's salary. So in this video, we've gone through the video solutions to the income tax practice questions. I really hope it's been useful for you. And if you do need any extra help on income tax, if you go to corbettmaths.com/contents and scroll down to video 400J, that's the video tutorial on income tax, or you can scan the QR code in the front of this booklet. And again, I really hope you found this video useful. If you have, please like it, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and Thanks so much. Cheers. Bye.